ASMR Magical Tools. Hi, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I decided to wear slightly different gloves for this video. They aren't the usual leather gloves, but I like the sounds they make. I will be bringing back the leather gloves, of course, for future videos. But I wanted to be taken seriously for this video. So I did like wearing gloves in the videos, but I didn't want that to be the focus this time. Today we're going to be talking about the ancient Egyptian and Gnostic origins of the Bornless Rite. Those of you who are involved with invocations of different kinds, most often the Bornless Rite is used with goetic invocation, but can be used when invoking just about any spirit. The reason for that is that it creates an environment in which you, the practitioner, are in control of the situation. One of the most immediately apparent things that links the Bornless Rite to Egyptian magic is the alignment of oneself with a higher power. In this case, either Moshe the prophet or Ankh of Nakansu, depending on the version that you like to use. They are slightly different. I think there is a version of Israel Regardi reciting the Bornless Rite. There are quite a few versions available. Here on YouTube, I did recently upload one, so I'll put that up here in the corner. I'll try to remember. Maybe it'll be this corner, maybe it'll be that corner. But first, I am going to recite the whole thing all the way through, even if you do end up watching the other video. And then we will break it down into the different parts, and I will read some comparative texts. I invoke the Bornless One, thee that didst create the earth and the heavens, thee that didst create the night and the day, thee that didst create the darkness and the light. Thou art Ausar un Nefer, whom no man hath seen at any time. Thou art Jabas, thou art Japos. Thou hast distinguished between the just and the unjust. Thou didst make the female and the male. Thou didst produce the seed and the fruit. thou didst form men to love one another and to hate one another. Hear thou me, for I am Ankh of Nakansu, thy servant, unto whom thou hast committed thy mysteries, the ceremonies of Chem. Thou hast produced the moist and the dry, and that which nourisheth all created life. Hear me, for I am the angel of Ta-Ausar Un Nefer. This is thy true name, handed down to the priests of Chem. Hear me. Har Theo Rebet at the Liberset A Plata Abeo Ebeo Vititaso Ibthio. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land or in the water, of whirling air or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. I invoke thee, the terrible and invisible God, who dwellest in the void place of spirit. Aragogorabrow, so thou, Modorio, Valarthou, Abe, the Bornless One. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land or in the water, of whirling air or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Hear me. Rubriao, Mariodam, Balbnabouth, Asalonai, Afniao, Ethoteth, Abrasax, Aiou, Ishere, mighty and bornless one. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land or in the water, of whirling air or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. I invoke thee, Ma Bariao, Ioel, Kota, Atorabalo, Abreauth. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land or in the water, of whirling air or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Hear me. Aoth, Abaoth, Basum, Isaac, Sabaoth, Eo. This is the Lord of the gods. This is the Lord of the universe. This is he whom the winds fear. This is he who, having made voice by his commandment, is Lord of all things, King, ruler, and helper. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land or in the water, of whirling air or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Hear me. Iou per Iou bornless spirit, having sight in the feet, strong and the immortal fire. I am he, the truth. I am he who hate that evil should be wrought in the world. I am he who lighteneth and thundereth. I am he from whom is the shower of life on earth. I am he whose mouth ever flameth. I am he, the begetter and manifester unto the light. I am he, the grace of the world. Kardia perizosmene ophin is my name. Come thou forth and follow me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling hair and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Such are the words. Sometimes, just to be hilarious, I like to switch out Diakana Koran for Diamanda Galas. I'm just kidding. You shouldn't switch the words unless you really, really know what you're doing. So, this spell is meant to clear the space. You get everything out that you don't want to have there, and you also let everyone know who enters this space that you are in charge in this domain. And you're appealing to this original God, referred to as the headless or the bornless one, Akephalos. And this spell originally appeared in a magical text, which is referred to as the Greek magical Papyri, and that is often shortened to PGM. So if you hear people talking about the PGM, they're referring to the Greek magical Papyri. And these, I believe, are actually written in Coptic, which is very similar to Greek, but is actually particular to Egypt, and we'll get into that in just a moment. And the portion of the Greek magical papyri containing the Bornless Rite is called the Stele of Jew. This is often used by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and as I mentioned before, for goetic invocations. And so let's go back to the ancient Egyptian coffin texts. Now, there is a text which is very similar to the coffin texts. The pyramid texts predates the coffin texts. And this originally was where a lot of the spell work for the coffin texts, and eventually the Book of Going Forth by Day, a lot of the spell work came through that lineage. And one of the spells in particular is called the Cannibal Hymn. And I'm going to be reciting the coffin text version of that today. And then I have another video which goes into the, it'll either be here or here. I have another video in which I recite the Cannibal Hymn from the Pyramid of Unas. sky is overcast. The stars are darkened. The celestial expanses quiver. The bones of the earth gods tremble. The planets are stilled, which see me ascending and exalted as this god, Lord of myriads, who lives on offerings, whom Osiris has equipped. I am Re, the sole jackal in the sky, whose mother knows not his name. My power is in the horizon. My glory is in the sky. Like Re Atum, my father, who begot me. He gave me his soul. He gave me his power. And I am indeed a spirit. My magic is about me. And here it's redacted, there's a lacuna, but the rest of the line are under my feet. The gods are on me, my uraei is on my brow, my guiding serpent is on my vertex. My soul has looked in the flame, and it is licked up. It is I who have acquired his powers. I am the bull of the sky who conquers at will, who lives on the beings of the gods, and who feeds on hearts and magic, even of those who come with their bodies full of magic from the island of fire. Those who are in the celestial expanses serve me, and I have appeared among them as a god, a possessor of helpers. I sit with my back to Geb, at the head of the two conclaves, for it is I who will give judgment, in company with him whose name is hidden, on that night of slaying the oldest ones. I am a lord of men who lives on the gods. I am one who himself prepares his meal. It is destroyer of messages who resides in Chesed, who lassos their magicians for me. It is he who uses his hand who binds them for me. It is he who is over the blood offering who guards them for me and extracts for me what is in their bodies. It is my messenger Hans, who is sent against him who would oppose. It is the winepress god Red of Timbers, who slaughters them for me, and who cooks for me a portion of them. On his evening hearthstones the chaos gods are chewed. The sun folk are swallowed. The new moon circulates under them. It is the great of heart in the north of the sky who makes ready the cauldrons for me against them on account of the legs of their women. The fire is put to the cauldrons for me, and a portion of them is cooked for me, from the thighs of the spirits which are among them. Their big ones are for my night meal. Their little ones are for my morning meal. Their middle-sized ones are for my supper. Their old ones are for my hearthstones. I am a power more powerful than the gods. I have circumambulated all the two skies. I have gone all over the sky, the earth, and the river banks. I have appeared among the powers who are in the horizon, and him whom I found in my way, him I devoured, piecemeal. See me, men and gods. I have appeared as one older than the old ones. I have reappeared in the sky. I am crowned in the realm of the horizon. Men offer to me with myriads of caught fish. I have eaten of the hearts of the gods. I have cut off the baboons and their vertebrae. I have eaten of the green one. I have gulped down the red one. I have become a spirit by means of the red crown. And there are no potentates who shall act by destroying. My favorite place in the whole of the two lands. I eat of their magic. I gulp down their powers. My strength in me is more than theirs. Their powers are within me. Their souls are with me. Their shades are with their lords. Their magic is in my belly. The great lady who dwells in the plain of the silent ones stands firm for me, and I have fished them up. It is the star which rules in the east of the sky, which brings to me and then redacted lacunae of their fishnets. My father's daughter being among them. Skillful is he who knows how to cut up caught fish, being what went forth from it. The meat for me is for my breakfast today, the meat of the morning's slaughtering. I am Ray of this day. And then my father Ray is, and there's a lacunae there, and then to eat the magicians, all of them. And there are several spells in the content of the coffin texts, the pyramid texts, and the Book of the Dead, which are similar in many ways, commanding, do not let this happen to me, do let this happen to me, and so on and so forth. I just think that the cannibal hymn is the most powerful of these. And of course, reciting it in English just really does not have the same effect that the original Egyptian language had, which was very mystical, or is a very mystical and magical tongue. So a lot of these barbarous names, that's the whispered part from the Bornless ritual that I did earlier. The barbarous names are said to have been passed down from the original language, but corrupted along the way, so that we're not entirely certain what the original god names were. But of course, if you're a very strong and powerful magician, you can intuit these things. But in the cannibal hymn, there is, of course, taking power over these other entities and becoming the most powerful of all the entities, which in this case would be Re Atum. So next I'm going to recite Spell 98 from the coffin texts. And this portion of the coffin texts bears great resemblance to the refrain or chorus of the Bornless ritual. So, mine is the sounding pole which went forth from the abyss. Yesterday I divided the firmament. My soul goes to me, to the sky having come from the earth. He who is in darkness is he who veils my back, because I am tomorrow and the Lord of yesterday. Do I forget the outer chamber of Thoth? Does he forget the wish of the dead until my soul and my shade pass by it? And so a really cool thing about this particular spell, in Egypt there were all kinds of different kinds of vermin in insect form: flies, lice, gnats, bees, bees aren't really vermin, but they kind of fall into the same category for these purposes, which is that some magical practices, and I went over this briefly in the epigamenal rituals, some of these spells were meant to disinfect insects that had either been ingested unintentionally by the practitioner or which inhabited the practitioner's body. In this case, the person recites this spell over a louse that they have plucked from their body, from their head, sorry. Place it on their knee, and then it says, spitting until a fly comes to snatch it. So possibly this casting of this spell as a curse on this louse until, in theory, a fly would come down out of the sky and snatch the louse, like off the person's knee, to remove different ailments. And as I'm sure you could tell, the wording of this particular passage does bear a great resemblance to the chorus of the Bornless ritual. So just to give you a little more context for the kinds of unknowable deities which are contained in the ancient Egyptian funerary library, we're going to talk about spell number 469 next. My spirit is equipped for a god whose name is He of the Dawn. He is ever between the two great gods when they are in the sky, one of them in the west of the sky and one of them in the east of the sky. They live on all the good things of this land. He, namely He of the Dawn, will come for it, for his holocaust, and he will equip every spirit belonging to him in the sky and in the west. And it is he who will place a spirit in the realm of the dead. O you of the dawn who wake and sleep, O you limp one who are in Nedit before me, I have appeared as the great primeval one. So says to me he who is limp, even he who is in Nedit. He has cleared the sky, he has joined the land together. He has cleared Nut the great before the great primeval goddess, who has granted appearings to me. The great primeval goddess guides me, even Nenmut, who is in the booth of the Great One, whose eyes are keen, whose claws are sharp, the ferocious lioness, mistress of those who see, the lioness who sees and catches by night. My mother is Sothis, and she prepares my path. She sets up a stairway to this very great plain of Nenmut for my ascent from the valley of the mountain of the Seseh bird on the north within my river banks. At the place where Orion issues, I find Orion standing in my path with his staff of rank in his hand. I accept it from him, and I will be a god by means of it. He gives me his staff, which is in his hand, and I will cause the strong ones to tremble by means of it. I will spit on the great ones by means of it. It will make me noble in the presence of Sothis. It will make me secure in the mansion of Orion. I ascend and appear as a god. My signs of rank are on me. and I will make the lands of the Fenghu impotent through them. I sit on a throne within the shrine and make summons to Orion that he should come to me. O Orion, come and see me. I have come manifest and besouled, exalted, defined, and enshrined in these divine dignities of mine. My soul gives me power over authority, and I have absorbed the perception of every god. I have taken away the powers of the spirits, and I have gripped their spirits. See, I have come that I may eat their magic, for I am one alone, without an equal. The red crown is in my body. I have gathered their children together. I have fetched them all, and none ever strayed from the company of the spirit of Sia. I have brought these two Hu gods. They eat the food of magic in the barks which assemble their magics and their powers. My soul has taken possession of the Hu Nabut. I have brought the dread of me into my body. The awe of me is on my lips. My strength is in my gullet. I am high-handed, and the dread of me is in my flesh. My strength is in my arms. My powers are in my legs. I am a god whose arms rule, and in whose heart is power. And that is not the entirety. There is another part with a call and response between the deceased and Orion. And then spell 470 is a spell for reaching Orion. And that is basically naming all of the different entities, including Sothis, who was the dog star, who sets up the staircase to help the deceased reach Orion. And this is important because Orion is equated to the Headless One. And of course, if you're looking at the constellation of Orion, the thing that is most prominent about him is his torso and hips. And of course, his sword hanging from his belt. So you can see that this worship of these celestial bodies extends forward from this period. So you can see I've got quite a few examples marked in this book. And that's because this book is ancient Christian magic, a Coptic text of ritual power. Now calling it ancient Christian magic is very oversimplified and a bit of a misnomer. There is a lot of Christianity in here, but many of these texts don't reference Christianity very heavily at all, and in fact are carrying forward a very powerful tradition of Egyptian magic. So this one, for example, is an invocation of Egyptian and Jewish deities for revelation. I guess to see the future. And it starts out with barbarous names. Sapphire, Bailkota, Kikatutara, Ekenklix, the great demon and inexorable one, Ibsen tan hu cheoch, do'u shamai arabenak, antrafiu, bale, sitengi, arten benten, akrab enth, uanth, bala, shupla, sraheni, deheni, kalashu, chatemak, bashni, bala, shamai. On the day of Zeus, at the 1st hour, but on the day of deliverance, at the 5th hour, a cat, at the 8th, a cat. Hail, Osiris, king of the underworld, lord of embalming, who is south of Thinis, who gives answer in Abydos, who is under the Nobs tree in Meroe, whose glory is in Pashalom. Hail, Al-Tabat, bring Sabaoth unto me. Hail, Al-Thonai, great Eu, very valiant, bring Michael unto me, the mighty angel who is with God. Hail, Anubis, of the district of Hansis, you who are upon your mountain. Hail, goddesses, Thoth the great, the wise. Hail, gods, Achnui, Acham, Abra, Sabaoth. For Akshaha, Shaha is my name. Sabashaha is my true name. Shlot, very valiant is my name. So let the one who is in the underworld join the one who is in the air. Let them arise and enter and give answer to me concerning the matter about which I ask them. The usual. And as you can see, a lot of the same barbarous names are employed, and the same entities, such as Iou and Sabaoth, and of course Egyptian deities, such as Osiris and Anubis, and even a Greek deity of Zeus. So here is another spell containing barbarous names, which is an exorcism to drive out demons. And this, I believe, may also be from the Greek magical papyri, but in this case it is called the Great Magical Papyrus of Paris, France. Formula to be spoken over the head. You place olive branches in front of the person and stand behind him and say, "Greetings, God of Abraham. Greetings, God of Isaac. Greetings, God of Jacob. Jesus, the upright, the Holy Spirit, the Son of the Father, who is below the seven, who is within the seven. Bring Yahweh Sabaoth. May your power issue forth from the afflicted until you drive away this unclean demon Satan who is in him. I adjure you, demon, whoever you are, by this God, Sabar-bar Bathiot, Sabar-bar Bathiot, Sabar-bar Bathionet, Sabar-bar Baphai. Come out, demon, whoever you are, and stay away from the afflicted. Hurry, hurry, now, now. Come out, demon, since I bind you with unbreakable adamantine fetters, and I deliver you into the black chaos of perdition. And you would take 7 olive branches and 6 of them tied together 2 ends of each one, but the remaining one use it as a whip as you utter the adjuration. Keep it a secret. And after you drive out the demon, hang around the neck of the afflicted an amulet after the expulsion of the demon, of course. And it's a tin metal leaf. And on this tin metal leaf would be written Bor for forba Bes Charin Bobu Te for Bor forba bor Baforba Fabriai Forba Farba forba Bofor forba Bobor borba Pum forba forba. Protect the afflicted. And there is also another amulet on which this particular incantation would be used, or inscription, I guess, in this case. And you notice the repetition of all these sounds. It's very similar to other magical items that are used in a repetitive way. This is thought sometimes to confuse the demon and trap them within that spell in its written form. So I think a lot of people might actually be very familiar with the Greek magical papyri, but I wanted to mention that there is also the Coptic Hoard of Spells from the University of Michigan, and that would be Michigan 593. And I guess there is a book called A Coptic Wizard's Hoard, which is by William H. Worrell. That if you are interested in these types of texts, I recommend this book, and you could also check that out. And I also wanted to bring up at this point, some of you might have seen the video that I put out recently leading up to this of the Thunder Perfect Mind, which is a poem contained in the Nag Hammadi scrolls, which were also in Coptic. Now, it's been theorized that Thunder Perfect Mind was originally written in Greek and then translated into Coptic for its inclusion in the Nag Hammadi Library. That is entirely possible. I am but a casual archaeologist at best, and only through my magical practice at this time in my life, really. But I definitely recommend, especially if you are somebody who performs a lot of invocations, that you research these ancient Coptic texts, because the Bornless ritual, of course, does have the tried and true power of practice behind it, but it's even more powerful to use texts that are not as familiar, and it will strengthen your own practice, certainly, to do so. Thank you so much for joining me today on this excursion into different rites, which are very similar to the Bornless Rite and the lineage of the Bornless Rite in ancient Egyptian magic. This is, of course, a topic which is close to my heart and very near and dear to me. So I hope that you have enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear them down below. As always, keep it polite, keep it cordial. We're all here to learn and get better at what we do. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you again very soon.